man, this is really living.
We're committed to the art and nothing can stop us. Not even a train, plane, tractor, all of us as we feel the rhythm inside the marrow of our bones.
Hey guys, Boo Kool-Aid here. I'm going to give you a video. Hey, we're going to talk about some stuff that we've been talking about for a while, but an article has come to the surface here talking about how binary systems, like 2 stars, or it could be, that's what they would call a binary system, but that they can move very, very fast. So that's why I'm going to show you this, and that's why I'm going over this, because it gives a little bit more understanding on how something could be orbiting our sun that fast, like a 28-day cycle. Okay? In order for an object to do that around our sun, or any sun for that matter, 2 things would have to be positive there. It would have to be close, probably, to the sun, okay, which is what we talk about, and it would have to be moving fast. And what I'm going to show you guys is an article showing that these things do move fast, and can move fast, and it's very possible that these things move extremely fast. Okay? So, what this is Scott posted a video today showing an object in the corona of the sun. Now, this is an older video that he has cut out and posted. Just sections of it. Okay. He did this back in June when he he captured this, or I think one of his subscribers might have sent it to him, but he's the one that showed it on his channel, obviously. So please go over and check that out. It's only like a 7-minute video. Go check it out because he explains it really, really well. So we're going to watch this, and I'm going to explain a couple of vocabulary words when he says this, okay, because I think it's important to understand what he's talking about.
Those still photographs. This object, like I said, it is orbiting in a very eccentric and elliptical orbit around the sun.
Okay. I know I stopped it really quick, but he said 2 words there that we have to understand before we go forward. Okay? The 2 words there were eccentric and elliptical. Okay? Now, elliptical is very easy to explain. Elliptical means, okay, it basically is a slanted orbit. Okay? A highly slanted orbit when we talk about it. Okay? Basically, instead of orbiting the sun like this, like the Earth does, basically right at the equator, which is what they call the ecliptic. Okay, I don't want to throw another word in there because I don't want to confuse people. But when we talk about an elliptic, anything in life, elliptical, means that it's slanted like this. Okay? That's how these objects are traveling. Okay, they may not be traveling that exact path. They could be doing one of these. Okay, that is what we call elliptical. Now, eccentric is just a touch harder to understand. It's pretty easy to understand, but I want to try to explain it to you guys so you guys can really put this together. Okay, I worked on machines for 20 years. We used what we called eccentric bolts all the time. They have tons of different applications. Basically what eccentric means is off center. Okay? So if you're looking at a bolt, okay, if you're looking at a typical bolt, you're looking at a bolt like this, right? Okay? Here's the head of it, and then there's the threaded, or it could even just be a straight shaft. Okay? Now, pretend you're looking at that bolt up this direction. Basically, you're looking from the bottom up. Okay? What a normal bolt would look like. I'm using square just because. Okay? Because I'm not an artist. That's right in the center, right? So if you're looking at a square bolt like that, and the shaft's right in the middle, if you're looking at it from the bottom, that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see how the shaft you're not going to see this part of the shaft. You're going to see up here. Okay? So, when I'm talking about off-center, when we talk about eccentric, that means that shaft is off-center. Okay? So, when we talk about an elliptical eccentric orbit or eccentric elliptical orbit, we're talking about, here's the elliptical part, right? It's slanted, right? The eccentric part means that, see that short distance right there? If we draw this on out, an eccentric orbit would look like this. Okay? That's in an elliptical eccentric orbit. The distance is close there, but long here. That means it's off-center. Plus, it's elliptical, which means that it's slanted. So, if you want to put it in basic terms, it's a slanted off-center orbit. Okay? Those are the words that we're talking about here. When we say eccentric and elliptical, that's what we're talking about. Basically, it's just a slanted off-center orbit. Okay? It's important to know because this object we're talking about, in any given time in its orbit, is different distances away from the sun. Okay? Most planets, at least us, we stay pretty much the same distance. We do vary some, but it's not much. Okay, Neptune has a really weird eccentric orbit also. Matter of fact, they think it's out of its orbit anyway. So I don't know if that's true. And it could be, I don't know. But what we're talking about here is this. So, and then, he said that, so we're going to listen to him some more here.
As it passes by, you're going to see it disrupts the sun's corona. Like I said, almost like something disrupting a smoke trail. A sudden burst of wind or whatever. You could even throw a baseball through a smoke trail and it will leave a disturbance as it passes through.
Okay, so we're going to fast forward here a little bit to right here. I think that's where I went. Or is it here? I think it's here. Okay, so I'm going to show you what he's talking about, okay?
So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and let this play. You guys can check it out. But watch up here, and you'll see it. Pretty neat. Now, there's a still photograph. You can see it right there.
Did you guys catch that?
Watch very carefully. You'll see it. That's the still photograph.
Now watch it move through the corona right over here.
I mean, that's completely undeniable.
See that? And see how fast that moved?
This was a 40.
Okay. That was a 48-hour time lapse, which basically it means that what we were looking at there would look to be moving faster than what it actually is. Given the distance or the size of the sun, even if it moved at half of that speed it just showed you, that thing would have been booking. Okay? It would have been fast. So we start talking about this. You know what? Well, how could something move that fast, right? Well, an article's come to my attention here. I'm just going to back off of that a little bit there. Come on, come off of that. Wow. Took me forever. Sorry about that, guys. Go to my gallery over here. Screenshots. And this. Okay. This is an article from the National Optic Astronomy Observatory. Okay. Basically, it just looks out into space. I'm not going to go into detail what this actual observatory's focus is, but if you read here, okay, it says National Observatory have led to the discovery of the fastest eclipsing white dwarf binary yet known. What they're saying there is they found a binary system, which means it has two stars, and they're orbiting each other, or doing a dance with each other. But listen to this. Clocking in with an orbital period of only 6.91 minutes. Okay? Could you imagine what kind of speed that actually is? And they caught this because what they did was they seen a star out there, and they seen a binary star, but it was moving so fast that it was they were eclipsing each other every 6 seconds or 7 seconds there. Minutes. Okay? So, if you can imagine two suns next to each other, big ones, okay? They don't have to be. They're probably both different sizes. But can you imagine two of our suns moving that fast around each other? Okay? So what I'm saying is that it is so much and very possible that the speed of what we're talking about when we talk about this 28-day orbit, it's very plausible, guys. Okay? So I need you guys to understand that. It's not something that Scott had just thrown out there. It's something that he vetted for a very long time. We talked about this in the background, guys, for months. Okay? Before we come, bring it to you guys, because we want to have, as much observational evidence as we can before this comes out. Okay? And this is something that Scott discovered, not me. Okay? I'm just, I'm agreeing with him on this because I've done some research myself on it now. And I did a video a while back, about a month or two ago, on this specific subject. I went back and I did the 28-day cycle backwards. And the sun itself was having CMEs in the exact same spot as where this object should be. Okay? It was months in a row. I think I went back 5-6 months, something like that, if you guys go back and watch my video. Okay? So what I'm saying is that we even got captures of that particular object in those CMEs. Okay? So this thing is showing up where basically this 28-day orbit theory Scott's come up with is predicting it to be. Now, there's other objects out there, guys, okay? This is a whole system. This isn't just one object. So it doesn't mean we can't see other objects in and around the sun or in and around our inner solar system or even behind us somewhere. Okay? We just simply don't know because we're not going to be privileged to that information. That's something that's going to come, to us very, very slowly if it comes to us at all, because they know. They already do. So what they're doing is, in my opinion, they're just letting it come out slow so people don't freak out. All right? So that's basically what we're talking about here. But as far as the speed, 6.91 minutes? Really? You do a full circle there? It's just crazy. So, yeah. I would encourage you guys to go read this article. And this is just a screenshot. You guys can Google that article. I'll try to leave a link here in the bottom here. But, yeah. So, when we sit here and talk about these kinds of things, we're not just throwing it out there. This is something that we're actually digging into, okay? So then you got this, right? Earthquakes again. This stuff is not going to stop. Volcanoes. Scott just did a video on a volcano erupting. Very good video because it shows it from bunches of different directions, and it has a pretty decent sized eruption cloud. Okay, so but this is in California here. Now, this happened last night. I was going to do a video, first thing this morning, I guess, UTC, if you look at the time. Okay, I haven't looked at USGS today yet, and there's probably more. Okay, that was a 4.7, right where the bigger earthquake was in California last week. Okay, we've been talking about that for a while because there's been like 30 or 80,000 different tremors since then, and it's ungodly amount of stuff going on out there. You're talking about fissures opening up. The magna pool underneath it might be way more than what we've been led to believe. The possibility of super volcanoes, all that, even being more disruptive if it was to erupt than what Yellowstone would be. Okay, not to mention that its proximity to the Cascadia zone, subduction zone, off the coast of Oregon, Washington, in Canada, it's very close to that, it could cause it to slip, or maybe it slips and then causes the volcano to go. Who knows, right? All I know is this is the information that we're seeing, and these are some of the results of what's happening in space. Space is, basically dictating this, and, we take it for granted, and we just listen to what, these agencies tell us, but they don't. Even some of the guys that aren't in these agencies are very timid to say that the solar weather, space weather, has anything to do with this stuff. But it does. Our electromagnetic connections to the sun and stuff is very, very important, and it causes a whole lot of things. All right, not to mention the solar winds shooting charged particles at us all the time. That our mantle, if it makes it, the highly charged ones will make it through our atmosphere, and our mantle will absorb it. And where's that energy got to go? It's got to go somewhere. Eventually, it just comes back out, right? When something gets too much energy, it lets it go, like a capacitor, a battery, right? It holds all that energy until it needs to let it go, till it can't hold anymore. And that's when we see stuff happening. Now, I ain't saying that's the only factor, okay, guys, because obviously it's not. It's just one of the factors. But they won't say that they look at that, okay? But they do. I'm just telling you, they do. All right? Now, this is a channel that I frequent. Okay, this is a great channel. It's Texas News Studio. He runs a live stream from 11 to 11 every day. I've been watching him for a couple years now. He tries to source out his information. He leaves his sources up here at the top right where he watches a whole lot. Well, let's see. That one says, and this makes perfect sense. I mean, obviously he's watching Dabu 7. He's watching all those other ones, but also, he does quote like Reuters and Bloomberg, all those, reputable mainstream news agencies. Okay? So, anyway, if you look at these two headlines here, snake-like UFO seen across U.S. could be military craft used by Space Force. Okay? If anybody, and I imagine a lot of my subscribers do, watch Naughty Beaver. He did his video on something very similar. Matter of fact, he talked about one of the ones that this guy here captured. Okay? We'll go into that in a minute, and I'll show you guys something here in a minute. But if you look here, it says exclusive photos from around across the country. Food shortages are here now. Okay? I reported on this a while back. Okay, we were seeing signs at Walmart saying, sorry, we're out of these vegetables, these canned vegetables. We're having a shortage. Okay, but the media is downplaying it, guys. Okay, that's what they're doing. So what caused those shortages? Well, basically, the farmers couldn't get their crops in because it was too wet. That's a very basic. There's a whole lot of different stuff there that we could talk about, but I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention about that. Just pay attention, guys. I mean, just be prepared a little bit, right? Have some extra canned goods and stuff where you're at. Just take care of yourself and make sure you got a little bit of cushion there in case something does happen. All right? Anybody that could grow a garden, I suggest do that. That's key. Then you don't have to depend on nothing. Because then you can just go out and get your own food out of your yard. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, back to this the snake-like UFO. I Googled it. And believe me, man, I was... Yeah. I mean, like I said, Naughty Beaver reported on this. I think there was a lot of other channels out there that really did report on this. You can simply do what I'm doing right here. Snake UFO across USA. Okay? That's all I'm doing. Hit go. Okay, let's see what it brings me to. I bet it brings me right to the article. Yep. Okay, it's from the Daily Star. Alright. A series of snake-shaped UFOs spotted across the U.S. could be military craft linked to the Space Force. Is that actually what's going on? I don't know. And it says a conspiracy theorist has told Daily Star online. Now, how reputable this Daily Star is, I couldn't tell you. But this is where this information is coming from. Okay? But I find it very strange that this is something that we're seeing now multiple times. Okay? Now, I have no idea what this is. Is this interdimensional? I think it's possible. Okay? That's just my opinion. Is it what it is? Is it something that we've got up there? Or is it actually interdimensional stuff that's starting to pass through or what have you, and we're able to see it? I don't know. But anyway, we'll watch this for a second. Okay. Now, it moves around. Yeah, stupid commercials. I'm going to mute it, though. Okay? I don't need any of that. It bugs me. But anyway, guys, yeah, I mean, you're going to see this snake, and it does. It moves around. Did I pause it? Sure did. Sorry about that. And again, I can't speak to the validity of this source. Now, what you're seeing here, guys, yeah. I mean, how do you explain that? This isn't the first time. This is like months in a row. All right. Now, what's causing that? You know, I don't know. I thought it was really interesting. I thought you guys might like to see that. So anyway, we'll get off of that subject. Like I said, there's so many opinions on interdimensional stuff that, yeah, it's hard to nail down the truth when it comes to that because everybody has an opinion. I mean, honestly, it's just what it is, you know? So, what we'll do here, guys, is, go through here. I'm going to show you what the magnetopause and stuff is doing right now. Now, this is something that I've come across, guys, that I did not expect to see. Okay? We've been talking about what's causing these disruptions for a while now. Alright, now, we've been talking about, you know, the electromagnetic fields interacting with each other, which I believe that's a very strong possibility. That's what's causing most of it. I do believe that we're getting, you know, cosmic rays also. There's not just one source causing these disruptions in our magnetopause. Plus, now we are seeing coronal holes. Okay, so when you see a coronal hole, the solar wind goes up, guys. Okay, now what's a solar wind? Very, very simply, it's just highly charged particles getting shot out from the sun in all directions. Okay, what's outside the sun? Well, guess what? Earth is. Okay, so we have a solar wind all the time. It never goes dead quiet. But when you see a coronal hole, okay, this is the sun on a normal day, right? Well, and it has permanent coronal holes on the north and south pole of its surface, okay? So when you see an opening on the sun's atmosphere, that's called a coronal hole. More particles are able to escape when that opens up. So when this coronal hole moves like right in front where the Earth is, facing us, that's when our solar winds will go up. Okay, that means we're going to see disruptions in our magnetosphere, in our magnetopause, all that, okay? So what I'm saying is that we're still seeing this stuff, okay? This is the most current capture here. Now I'm gonna load some stuff up, and I'm gonna talk while I'm loading. But excuse me, sorry about that, guys. We are seeing pretty good disruptions, okay, right now. Can it be explained by solar wind? I think this time some of it can. I don't think all of it can, because if you think about it, that if a solar wind increased, you wouldn't just see probably one strong wave. You would probably see a more constant uptick, plus extra little boost of, you know, speed every once in a while. Which basically what I'm saying is you would have a constant size of wave, and then every once in a while it would bump up even further. Okay, that's kind of what I would think a typical solar wind with a coronal hole influencing it would be. Okay? But that's not what we see. what we're seeing in these models is waves, just waves that don't last very long. Okay, I'm talking like, you know, when it hits our magnetopause, it's here and gone in 15, 20 minutes. Okay, and you can see it. You can see it hit our magnetopause and then go away. All right. So I'm going to load this stuff up. Plus, I've come across something that, like I said, I didn't expect to see. Actually, it kind of shocked me just a touch. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, shock, oh no, you know, that kind of a thing. It was more like an unexpected, wow, that happened type of thing. and I missed it. Let me tell you why I missed it. Because it didn't last very long. Why ain't it lasting very long? Because of what I just said. Because this isn't coming from, all of it is not coming from solar wind. All right? It's coming from other sources. Again, electromagnetic disruptions between more than one electromagnetic field. Okay? Now, I'm going to pause that right there. I'm going to, as soon as I get this other one going here, I will show you these other models. But I'm going to show you guys this too, okay? Because this is where I've seen it. And we do typically see these kinds of, these tend to show up more on the radiation belt detectors, okay? Which is what this other one is. It detects radiation, obviously, at different kelvins, which is it's just a measurement, I believe, of heat. It's, like I said, basically it's our Van Allen belts, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. The radiation belts at different levels, and it senses how hot it is at different levels. And that's what you're going to see on this particular model. And I'll explain that better later, guys. I'm sorry I'm not explaining that very well right this second. I really want to get to this information and show it to you guys. I don't want this video to go way too long, because when that happens, most people will, and I do go on sometimes, but this one's just kind of full of a bunch of different stuff. So anyway, what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the latest disruption on our magnetopause, which is what we're seeing here, and I will show it to you. Again, like I said, I've already seen this. So if you look at the timestamp, guys, that's the timestamp. It's today. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this, and we're going to go with this, right? You see that heat building in the back there? All right, now, this isn't going to stop, guys. This is going to continue. This is going to become more of a normal capture for about the next 6 months, just because of where we're at in our orbit around the sun. Okay? So you're seeing that, right? Now, here comes the disruption. I'm just going to minimize that a little bit. Okay. Oops. Okay, here we go. See, we compressed a little bit. Then we expanded. Now watch this. Okay, we all know what that means, right? I've been explaining this in multiple videos. We got compressed. We got hit hard right there. Okay, see our shield out in front got compressed down towards the Earth. Now, it didn't make it down into the satellite line in that one. But see how we got hit, compressed, now rapid expansion is going to happen. And then we got hit again. You see that? Okay, the second one was the one that hit us harder. Okay, you guys seeing that? I mean, boom. Look at that. Now I'm going to back this up. We're going to roll forward with it. I found something strange here. It was really kind of crazy. Now we're seeing some energy starting to hit our shields there. Sometimes we see those. Those are precursors to a bigger hit. Okay? Now watch this. Compression, expansion, big compression, massive expansion, compression again. Look at that last one. See that? That's really close to the satellite line. And see how it flattened out our shields? How it's not arced as much? Okay, and we expand back out. And look at that. That's all kinds of funky. Just letting you know. Okay? So that's where we're at. That just happened just like a couple hours ago. Within the past couple hours, that just happened. So, yeah. So what we're going to do, actually, I'm going to get that thing loading again. It's not wanting to load. Huh. May have to back out of that. Anyway, we'll see if it'll load. I'll show you guys this one here real quick. Oh, these are playing. That's why it ain't loading. Eating up my bandwidth. Okay. Anyway, I'll show you the disruption on this one. See that small little wave? Then we start bouncing a little bit. And then that bigger wave. And here it comes. Boom. See that? Bam. Right? And then the big one. Bam. It was like bam, 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 bam. We got rapid fire there, guys. Okay. Here's another one. Look at that. Wow. That's a hit and a half. Whoa. Okay. So, yeah. And then we'll look at it over here. This is the actual solar wind model over at ISWA. Okay. So, what we're looking at here, guys, if you want to see what the solar wind speed is as this is showing you, it's right there. Okay. That's kilometers per second, by the way. Just in case somebody wanted to know. Alright, now here comes some waves. Little ones, right? And here comes the bigger ones. Starting to bounce around a little bit, and there's a big one, right? That's the first big one. Compression, expansion. Then the second big one hit. Okay, see that? And then look at that one. That one was a heck of a hit. Okay, now if you're looking at the solar wind speed up there, it says 564, right? It got up to like 600 and something, 680, I think, 630, something like that. What we'll do is I'll take you guys over and we'll convert that over to miles per hour so you guys can have a better understanding, because most people understand miles per hour way more than what they understand kilometers per second. Yeah, I'm just gonna back out of this and we'll go back into this because it's not wanting to load. So I'm gonna do this real quick. Close that all out. Now what we'll do is, since we're already out of that, I will take you over and convert that for you guys real quick and tell you what that is in miles per hour. Okay, so it's, what did I say, 630? Let's just say 650, because I thought I might have seen 680 in there also. So you just hit it there, and then you hit the arrow here in the middle, and then it'll convert it to miles per hour for you. Okay, so that's 1,454,000 miles per hour. Okay, so like I said, if the sun is 93 million miles away from us, yeah, so if that was true solar wind from a coronal hole, that would have been Earth facing roughly 3 days ago. Okay, so that's how they're able to predict these increases in solar wind, because it takes time for it to get here, but they just don't know exactly how long, because each coronal hole produces different speeds of solar wind. So that's why that stuff varies. And keep in mind, guys, like I said a minute ago, solar wind is nothing more than highly charged particles escaping or getting pushed away out all directions from the sun. Okay, and then when we get increased solar winds, most of the time, we're told that they come from coronal holes. So that's where the atmosphere of the sun opens up a little bit right there. And that's exactly what happens. Okay? So when that atmosphere opens up, it allows more particles, charged particles, to come out faster, typically, and more of them. So you're talking about more dense, too. Okay? Most of the time. So that's why we get these hits on our magnetosphere, and Excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. All right, so when we don't see a coronal hole, and this is why we talk about this, when we don't see a coronal hole, when we see these hits on our magnetosphere, then we got to look at other places. Okay, so that's why we start talking about, this 28-day orbit and the electromagnetic field that this object has. Okay, multiple objects, and they're adding chaos, basically, because they're reacting with the sun magnetic field and ours all at the same time, along with some of the other planets. Okay, so like I've said before, guys, get yourself two magnets and start messing with them. Right, lay them on the table. They don't have to be big. Negative and positive attract each other. So when the negative pole is next to the positive of the other magnet, they'll latch onto each other, and then vice versa. If they're same polarity, positive against positive, they're going to push against each other just like a negative and a negative will. So they'll try to repel from each other. But you get you a third magnet while all that's going on, and you introduce that third magnet into that situation, you almost can't see or tell which direction it's going to go, because it's so chaotic because all three of them are interacting with each other. That's what I've been trying to say about all that. Okay, so when we get these interactions, excuse me, I gotta take a drink here. Sorry about that, guys. My allergies have kind of been, kicking my butt. So, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to pause this until this loads, because I know you guys don't want to sit here and just listen to me rant. So, alright, guys, I'm back. I got it to load up there. Sometimes my internet goes kind of slow, so I had to pause it there. But anyway, guys, what you're looking at here is radiation. Okay, it is one of the radiation belts. Okay, what do we call those? I can't think right now. I'm sorry, guys. Van Allen belts. This is what the astronauts had to pass through to get to the moon. So, and I know there's lots of controversy around that whole subject, and I'm not going to go into that. But what we're seeing right here is an increased radiation. Okay, this is back on the 24th. Now, I have to be honest with you, I missed this one. I typically look at these every day. Okay, multiple times usually. Now, if you go up here, this is the ISWA. You can look at these at different levels as far as altitude. Okay, what we're looking at is the 50. Okay, the 50 Kelvin is detecting that measurement there. So, basically, if you guys just think about this in levels of heat or intensity, obviously the red is stronger, and then you get down towards the blues is less or not as hot, if you want to think of it that way. Now, what I want to show you guys, and it's going to, I'm not saying that we had some sort of complete magnetopause reversal or anything like that. Okay, that's not what I'm saying right here. Okay, that happened back, years in a row, and they tried to hide that data, and I've did videos and talked about that before. Okay, but what I am saying is that we may have, for some reason, tried to protect ourselves here, and we had to flip back the other direction just for a second. Okay, it doesn't last very long. This isn't like a long drawn out, and this can probably, in my opinion, I would think, and I haven't researched this part out, that on these little short ones, if they could be caused by just some big hard hit from solar wind. But let's just go ahead and do this. So what you're seeing, right, this is normal. Well, that red around it, that's pretty intense. Okay, the sun's over here, guys, keep that in mind. It's important here. The dotted line's a satellite line. So when you're seeing that inside that satellite line, that's what you're seeing. We're looking at the Earth from the top down. Okay? So all the radiation stuff should be coming from this way, majority of it should be being influenced by our sun, not so much cosmic rays. And we do get those cosmic rays, though, and they do produce, they do give us some radiation here. So keep that in mind. That those can come from anywhere in space, okay? But keep in mind the sun's out to the right. So what we're going to see, now what I want you to pay attention to are these lines. Okay, it's trying to outline it. All right. Now you seen that big jump right there? Okay, if you look at your timestamp, what happened here is that it missed some data. Now whether it went into safe mode, I don't know. Whether they don't want to show us this data, I don't know. I think it's probably a little bit of both. But yeah, yeah. So we can sit here and talk about that all day long, but I'd rather just show you the observation. How about that? So it jumped about an hour. See, it says 0808. Then the next capture we get to see is 0912. So an hour and 4 minutes we're missing data. Okay. Now, see, this right here is kind of what it should look like. See how it stretches out towards the back? Now what you're going to see is you're going to see energy start coming from behind it. See that? It'll come in there and it kind of spirals in if you really watch this. Now you see it's kind of collapsing there, and then then it lost its data. Okay. Now here's where this is what I missed. Okay, just showing you. Okay, we stretch back out and I watch. And this happens really, really fast. Okay, see that behind us? See how look at all that energy. You see that? Now watch what happens. What's that look like to you? I'm going to stop it right there. Okay? How could this be arcing that way, especially with the lines going on off this way, if the sun's over here? Okay? If the sun was over here, that would look very normal. Okay? But it's not. And again, this doesn't stay that way for long. Okay, and you can see it. It moves. You can see it move across. See it? There's some sort of energy coming from behind there. Now, whether it come from the front first and kind of rebound back towards us, I don't know. Okay, but I will tell you this, that those got stretched out the wrong direction. Okay, and we'll go forward. See how we slowly come back, and that's also something that I've not really seen a whole lot of. Typically when we see these little flip things, they're very, very quick. And you don't see it kind of slowly go back to normal. So what we're seeing here, now you've seen that pink right there. Okay, that color isn't even on the chart. They use that color when there ain't no other thing higher. Okay? So that's pretty intense right there in that one little spot. But what you see here is really what gets it. Okay, because you're seeing all this energy all the way back through here, that wide, probably wider, and it's starting to flatten this out back here, and then it pushes hard enough the other direction. And keep this in mind too, guys. If it's pushing that direction, it has to be pushing harder than what the sun's pushing on us. So what would cause that? Unless, like I said before, and I always take this in consideration, unless it's like a rebound, like the energy came from the sun, kind of went back here and did one of these numbers. Yeah, I've talked about that before. Okay? That's a possibility. I mean, I'm not saying it ain't what happened, but I'm not saying that it is. My opinion, I don't think that's what happened here. Okay? Because you're seeing that intense, watch, and then it starts stretching out. Stretches on out, and then it starts coming back. See how fast that went? And it did it again. Okay? That's yeah. So, here's the start of it. Okay? And then it stretches back, goes back, and then bounces back. Now, what you're seeing, that bounce, is probably we got hit with energy again from another wave of either from solar wind or from the disruption from the Planet X object we're talking about with its electromagnetic fields interacting with each other. Okay? Now, I know I threw a whole lot of information out there to you guys. Okay? A whole lot of vocabulary there at the beginning. but I thought it was really necessary to explain eccentric and ecliptic. Okay, and I'm going to explain it one more time, okay? Elliptical, not ecliptic, elliptical. Elliptical means slanted, basically. Okay? That's a very basic way to think of it. And it's good enough for what we're looking at here. Okay? Now, when we're talking about eccentric, it's not centered. It means it is off to one side or the other. So for this elliptical orbit to be eccentric at the same time, it would have to be like this. Okay? The distance here is small, but yet the distance over here is large. Okay? Now, another word that we use a lot is called the ecliptic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and explain that real quick. That means that's basically the equator of the sun. If you stretch the equator of the sun all the way out to the end of our solar system, that would be the ecliptic. So when we're talking about something that's lower or below the ecliptic, we're talking about something that's down here. And then when we're talking about something that's above, we're talking about something that's up here. So what we're saying is that when we're having a slanted orbit, elliptical, it goes above and below the ecliptic, the equator of the sun, the middle of the sun. Okay, that's a very basic way to explain it. Please go back and, pause and rewatch that if you don't understand. I've explained this a lot. I'm finding it hard to explain this in a way that everybody can understand. Because some of these words that we use can be confusing. And I'm trying not to do that to everybody. I want everybody just walking in here for the first time to at least have some sort of idea. Okay? So, again, there's that. And it did that. Okay, guys? I mean, look. That line stretches on out. Okay, now, it could have went right here and just went up. I don't know. Can't see it. Okay? But looks to me like it just was extending on out, at least a little bit. And they're probably connected back here somewhere. Alright, so in order for that to do that, it has to be pushing harder than the energy that we were getting from the sun at that time. Or at least from that direction. So, keep in mind, guys, what I was saying earlier. We talk about this 28-day orbit, right? Well, I think one of the things that validifies what we were talking about, because that's where a lot of people get hung up on this, because they don't think something could move that fast. Well, this right here kind of shows you that it can. Okay? So there you go. I mean, it tells you that these two binary stars were eclipsing each other every 6 minutes, 7 minutes. Probably right in half, because when they would go on the other way, it was probably eclipsing each other like every 3.5 minutes. But regardless, it means they were orbiting around each other every 7 minutes. That's fast, guys. We're not seeing nothing that fast around here, okay? So, to think that we couldn't have an object close to the sun orbiting very fast enough to be a 28-day orbit, is very, very plausible, okay? So, I mean, that kind of just makes that a valid thought that could actually happen. So, it gives a little bit more credence to Scott's 28-day orbit theory, okay? And that's why I'm showing you this, because it is possible. A lot of people think that stuff ain't possible, and that's why I'm actually showing you this article, because it is possible. If not probable at this point, because it's some of the other observational evidence that we have. Okay? But, anyway, guys, I am going to end it there. God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.